All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So it actually was a few days ago that I covered these three stocks. I'm going to do them again, I think in a slightly different order, but again, looking at Mara, Marathon right here, Coin, and then Riot right after. So interesting day on Marathon, all right? And I will be talking about it a little more in a couple minutes, right? But man, the day was pushing 18% at one point when I saw it. It then had moments of like a really hard doji forming, and then pretty much you see it ends almost under the lines, right? And it really happened. Where was it? Yeah, right. It was a beginning day pop, and then it just never really held it, right? So interesting day here. All right, there's earnings that we'll talk about a little bit, but you know me, I think I care more about the moving averages and the indicators. But yeah, not the close I expected, and it's really highlighted, and again, you will see it a little bit later, but yeah, 9 a.m. my time, which is again really early in the market. I was positive on this. You can see I have a screenshot. You can pause it if you want to read it. Otherwise, like I said, I'll say the same thing. Coin is kind of the same story, actually. So Coin was looking really good. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure where that one closed, but I'm kind of assuming it's going to look like Marathon, where that early morning pop probably didn't hold just like this one did. And then Riot, kind of the same story, right? You know me. I'm here assuming sector harmony. I don't know what other word to use, right? But if one stock looks like this, I kind of assume the rest do, all right? But I still think I'm overall positive on these three, and that's going to kind of be the echoing theme here, all right? But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me so much with these YouTube algorithms, especially if you can actually share the video. I am not the best at doing that, actually, all right? But let's get into it. And man, the first thing I want to talk about is the candle itself, all right? If you should actually be able to see it on the screen, all right? We actually have 4 different candles here, all right? We've got green outline, green filled, red outlined, all right? And there is a video, if you go back into the Knowledge Center, you can see how to set that up and what that means. But end of the day, this green day is better than this green day, all right? End of the day, there are different levels of good. I believe that there is good, and then there's actually bad good, all right? And that's what today is. Today was, unfortunately, a bad good day. And what does that really reflect in my head? Look at the box over there. We open at $9.69. Unfortunately, we end up losing about 40 cents and drop down here. More people lost money than they actually made money. All right. From there, man, look, I hope someone sold it up here, not bought it up here, right? But yeah, someone bought at 1048. Someone thought we were breaking this, and I'll get to the line specifically, right? But yeah, overall, I see more people losing on this day because, again, it opens up here and drops down here, all right? As opposed to this one, right, where it opens down here at 930, you can see it in the box, and then closes up here at 986, right? That's good. Okay, so that's the candle itself, all right? I'm going to come to my thoughts because, again, this was the morning. And look, I peaked at Marathon. I am actually holding. You know, I don't like to tell you guys what I'm holding, right? Because sometimes you're going to watch someone's YouTube video and be like, oh, man, if they're holding, I should hold. And no. Like, I am not perfect, all right? But I was surprised we dropped from the 18 that I saw, but if you read it, and again, I'm going to give you a little summary, and this is actually a better screenshot, all right? So I like that the MACD was positive. I like that the RSI was healthy, and even at 9 o'clock with several hours left, we were well over that average, all right? What I was really hoping for, and I can't see if it's there. Yeah, it's on this one. I was hoping we would end a little closer to that 970, 980 to make a beautiful doji for a good setup tomorrow. All right, that was again 9 o'clock. It's been several hours since that. That's clearly not what happens at all. Again, I was feeling right here, if not actually a little higher, like right here, right? So the bad candle does have me a little worried, I'll be honest with you, but I think I'm gonna like the fact that we gapped up those three. End of the day, if you watch my videos, you know it. We need confirmation tomorrow. Okay, we must confirm, because look, we were down here yesterday. All right, you can see it in the box over there. My line is actually really good. We close at $8.55 below all three of those lines. And then this morning, we basically magically, and I say magically jokingly, right? There was good earnings, and I'll talk about that, right? But we magically jump over all three and we close above all three, right? Little closer than I wanted it to, right? I wanted to finish a little higher, but hey, we're over the line, we're in the house, the snow is outside, not making us cold, right? Like, we're over the lines, okay? What am I expecting for confirmation? Look, I mean, that's not bad. I guess that's basically what but see, I think that's what we, like, I'll be honest, I think I need a little closer to like 980, 970, basically where we opened. I think the lowest I'm willing to accept is 960. But yeah, I think ultimately I would like to go a little higher into that like 970 range, all right? The one comment I do want to highlight, and I'm going to say it again, look, the 50 moving average has been a pain for Marathon, right? And let's just zoom out a little bit, right? Yeah, we fly over it, but we clearly lose it. Like it was such a sad loss too. There was nothing there, right? So the 50 has been a problem. All right. And we come to it once, fail. We come to it again, couldn't confirm. We've now come to it again. Are we going to get over it? I'm not entirely sure, right? And just kind of zooming out, in general, we're under that 50 moving average. We're under the red line more than we're really over it, right? Like, this is a good moment. Like, I'm not taking away from this early January to what are we gonna call it? Yeah, till August run, right? Like, that's a strong 8 months right there. But that entire year was pretty much under it as well, right? Oh man, okay. I guess that's about balance. Yeah, I would say I'm going to hold that thought. I am going to hold that thought. Just kind of zooming out, I think we have been under more. End of the day, look, I'm going to stick with what I said here. Confirmation tomorrow should be doable because of this, right? And it's kind of the same formation, right? But check mark was what I was hoping for. Look, we're still MACD positive. We're still at a pretty healthy RSI. And just as I zoom out, it wasn't too long. We were up here, right? We were in the 80s. It's been a little bit of time since we've been there, so hopefully we can just kind of smash through 70. But yeah, maybe even 70 will be a little bit of a pain. But end of the day, what I'm really trying to do, is get over the 200 moving average. All right, I don't necessarily need it to be a rocket. Yeah, I would love it. You know, I'm holding it, right? So shit, I'll take it. Sorry to curse, right? But if we can get closer and closer to this, I'm going to start believing more and more we've broken the 50. I still don't believe we've broken the 50. I got to at least say that. Yes, we are physically over the day. Yes, I see after hours going up right now. That means absolutely nothing to me, all right? We need, and when I say we, I say me, because again, literally, I have my money in this. I need to believe the 50 moving average is not a joke, all right? If I'm wrong, I'm actually expecting this to go below 9 and probably come all the way down to like 880, give or take. I can see this coming down here, all right? I think the one good thing to like, and look, you know, I don't know a lot about the company, right? I barely know anything about most of the companies I make videos on, right? I just kind of care about the lines. I saw a lot of really good headlines for the Marathon earnings, all right? That said, I've also read a lot of comments from my viewers and subscribers that actually kind of, I don't want to use the word hate, but they kind of hate the stock. Like they feel there's a lot of dilution. They feel like there's a lot of just like lack of shareholder trust and so many other like adjectives that I've seen actually echoed across a few, right? So, you know, I think I'm going to take the positive Marathon earnings. I'm going to take the healthy Bitcoin price. I'm gonna take the decent indicator signals here, and I'm gonna hope that tomorrow confirms, like I said, into the 970, 980, right? The one thing I do want to call out, SP 500 did not do as well as I wanted. It did not get over the line. That's a doji. Day after is not good. All right. NASDAQ, same thing, right? Coming down to the NASDAQ composite right here. Same basic thing day after the doji. Now, in some ways, the Bitcoin world is a lot different than the indices world, right? But hey, a stock is a stock. When the indices are not looking good, it's a bad place to be, all right? So just kind of keep that in your back pocket. But where are we on the weekly? Oh, that's an interesting little candle right here. We're essentially a doji on the 50 moving average, right? What's this number down here? This one actually says 850. On the last one, on the daily, I was basically saying 870, 880. Hey, maybe we do come down to 850. That's essentially this line right here anyways. So yeah, it kind of makes sense to me. Look, it also hits this one right here. So today did the job. Let me just end it with there. It got us back over these three lines. Let's see how it confirms. And then very quickly, that post-market just actually came down a little bit too. Again, you know I don't like watching post-market. I think it's a little bit of a trap. But Marathon, my thoughts and opinions, let me know if you agree or disagree. Let's come into Coinbase. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. But man, this is an interesting candle to say the least. All right. Again, if you watch the introduction, I know a lot of people just kind of fast forward sometimes, right? But I didn't know what this looked like. I knew what Marathon looked like. I did. And I saw that it opened right here. It went really high and then it closed a lot lower than I expected. Because of that, I assumed the same for Coinbase, and that's exactly what happened. I saw the run up. All right. Again, I was bullish a couple videos ago. I am actually holding a little bit of this one too. I thought we were going. I did actually. And I think the fact that that Marathon came down and this looks exactly like this, I'm for sure expecting RIOT to look the same, right? And a lot of it goes to why I always say, look, the close of markets, why I make my videos at this time, right? The close of markets, what matters. So many different crazy things can happen during the day. The close is what helps us dictate tomorrow's expectation, all right? And that's a funky close to say the least, because the first thing that's catching my eye is the RSI. It's not like the RSI was in the 80s or 90s and like, oh man, we needed to cool off. Like there was plenty of room for this thing to go up and hold it, right? Like this thing peaked 99.80. It almost went to $100, but it couldn't hold, right? And it should have, just really based on the RSI, right? And again, wasn't that long ago, kind of lining up with the Marathon timing. Like we were pushing high 80s and holding 90s even with the RSI, right? So I am surprised the candle did. Again, look, green, 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 red, 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 red. We're basically right there. Like I'm surprised we didn't green, green, green fly, right? You know, it's and then just Marathon, like I said, I don't know if you fast forwarded or not, but Marathon actually had decent headlines on their earnings today, right? Like it's a little interesting to see the reaction. And to me, I know a lot of people kind of put the altcoin world very separate, but to me, what really seems a little logical, dude, that's a very bad S&P 500. Look, on the, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to lose a lot of time, but you hear me say it often, day after the doji is really important. The doji was supposed to take this over the 100. It clearly did not, right? Like that would have been the fifth one. We would have been overall 5 and fly, right? NASDAQ's a little easier to see it. Look, NASDAQ composite. We had the doji over the line, didn't confirm. Literally, does it literally? Let me not say literally till I look. Damn, look at that. So the open was essentially $3 off of my line right there. I was off by $3.16 because it was 93 and what, 70, give or take, whatever, right? That's pretty cool and hilarious at the same time. I love that. Nonetheless, we couldn't confirm it, right? So it kind of makes sense that we're going to come down here, I think. And hey, you always hear me say it, the indices matter more. All right. If you're not living in a good indice market, hey, it's going to be a little rough sailing, right? So I'm curious to see how this confirms. I'm still relatively bullish as long as the indices don't go crazy, right? I think that's kind of my little like scapegoat if things get ugly, right? But again, I like the MACD. That's a beautiful divergence. Again, divergence just a fancy word for the two lines going away from each other, and they're going away from each other the right way, right? Green over red is good, going away up and up into the positive. That's good right there. MACD, we just talked, RSI, we just talked about it. It was in the 90s only a couple months ago. Like, take me back up, right? And again, you can see volume's been getting nicer and nicer. So check mark, check mark, check mark. To me, I think it's an indice reaction, the NASDAQ and the S&P, than it is anything specifically on coin. But hey, again, it's the realities of the market, right? So let's look at the weekly. Oh man, this is still a good weekly. Oof, oh man. So there is no 200 moving average on the weekly. This thing has not been trading for 200 weeks, all right? Sorry to zoom out. So if you counted every single one of those candles, it's not 200 yet. This one right here was the 100th one. Clearly from here to here is not 100, right? Because just from here to here was 50, right? Because 50 plus those 50 got us that. So we've got a long way to go before the 200th moving average starts. Hopefully that means we're going to break this and keep going, right? Let's see what the indices do. Man, this thing is, geez. Different market conditions, man, this would have gone silly. All right. Hopefully we can, because again, look at that green, red, man, just. Oh man, interesting. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. Again, it's basically doing nothing after hours, right? I can't tell if it's actually going up or down. Yeah, it's holding, because there's basically a 20-cent shift on the ask and the buy too. That's a little interesting. It's a little bigger of a gap than I like to see. Nonetheless, regular hours matters. The opening's going to matter. Hopefully we open above and go up, right? Like that's for sure the goal. Riot. Let's come into Riot. Dude, Riot was a sad one because this one was on the cusp of confirmation, right? Couldn't get over the 200, comes back. Couldn't get over the 200, sorry. Gets over the 200, couldn't confirm, bounces really well, gets over. That's actually a decent confirmation. I'm surprised we didn't get better from here, right? That was a little sad. We come back down, but again, healthy bounce, open up here, run really nicely. Unfortunately, and again, you always hear me say it, the close matters more than the open, right? And I'm glad we're at least still holding these two lines. Like so far, the 20 moving average has done us very, very well, right? I mean, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. It's now starting to maybe become a bounce, right? I do like the fact that the 50 and the 20 are actually a little tight right here. So the two lines should make it that much harder to like go below it, right? Two lines are hard to break up. Two lines should be hard to fall below, right? Man, this is a pesky 200 moving average. It's the last one for a reason. It's a hard one for a reason. And the one thing I want to just really quickly see, Marathon had a big green. Coinbase had a big green. Riot obviously also ends a little bit negative, but Riot had a big red. I don't like that. I think that's an interesting outlier here. I don't know why it didn't at least do the, like, right? Like it should have the same big green candle. And really, the MACD and the RSI don't have that same like gusto that Marathon and Coinbase did as well. Yeah, this one's positive, but it doesn't have that like good divergence that's making me think it wants to go higher, up. RSI is also like, obviously you can see it, the red is over the green, not the way we want it, right? We want green over red and green over red on both, right? And we obviously want them diverging up, right? So Riot seems a little funkier, I would say. And I mean, again, 1090 is 1082, 1083 is still that number. Let me go a little high. Yeah, maybe even you can call it 11 if you want. Again, if you can get over that, there's a real good shot to 1240, right? 1245, 1250. And in a lot of ways, man, we almost wicked most of that today, right? But yeah, the close matters more than the moments in the day. Like that's a for sure, right? Where are we on the weekly? Yeah, again on the weekly, that should be a hard point to lose. Those two lines right there, that's 975. Where is this? A little lower than that, so oh, a lot lower than that actually. That's 975. Oh man, I would hate to see a candle come that low. But end of the day, I mean, I'm hoping this holds. I'm going to say it again. I am actually hoping we do not go below this $10 line. The weekly is kind of obviously saying, hey, maybe we'll come down to 975. But Riot, like I said, does not look as good as the other two. All right. So let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, as always, thank you. Thank you.